It is actually crazy how valuable content can be for the individual actually creating the content, right? I feel like everyone, they see people starting businesses and making money and things like that with content, but that's really not what I'm talking about when it comes to creating content. What it really comes down to is the fact that when you actually put yourself on camera and you have to watch yourself back and you have to see how you communicate, how you speak, what you look like, what you sound like, that's hard. Most people hate hearing themselves talk. Most people hate seeing themselves on video. If you're in sales, I'm in sales, and you have likely had to listen to your calls. So if anyone's not familiar with in sales, like to get better, you need to go back and listen to your calls and listen to your closes and listen to the objections that you heard and listen to how you reacted to them and how the prospect reacted to them. Listen to the ones that you absolutely botched. It sucks. It's not fun listening to yourself at all. It's not fun seeing the way you speak. And I think majority of people try to completely avoid it, which is why content can be so valuable, right? Because it is allowing you to be malleable, right? It's valuable because it's malleable. That's pretty crazy. Because you can change it. Like you're constantly, when you're creating content, the only way that you end up posting it is if you watch it and then you put some edits in there or you check it out, right? And understand, oh, is this good enough? When you're first starting, like even like me, you'll start recording things and be like, oh crap, I forgot something, or okay, I don't like the way I said that. I don't like the way I did it. But the only difference is you have to actually post it to then really take action on it. And what I mean by that is like a few years ago, I would record videos. I would record content. I just never posted it. And I would watch the videos back, maybe once, not anything more than that. And then they're just sitting in my files. I never posted it. So I never made the changes. But when you're actually making content and creating content and actually posting it and putting the effort out there, like you're putting it out for the world to see, you then have the wherewithal to watch that and understand, okay, maybe I want to do this better. I would like to communicate that better. I'm not communicating the way I want to. You have to look at yourself like in the mirror and make changes. And 95% of people don't do that. They never do. They never take a look at themselves and the way that they're talking and communicating and understanding, right? Maybe that is why they have differences with other people, or that is why people don't understand them or the way they react or their emotions to things, right? That's the plus. That's also the plus. You start understanding yourself by making the content. It's pretty crazy. Obviously, I've said that 5 times already. The other great thing about it, and I kept thinking about this as well, because it allows you to continue to make the content. Sometimes it's hard to continue to create content, and that's why it's good to make and talk about things that you like talking about and that you enjoy doing. But at the same time, I'm sure many of us, our parents used to record us when we were younger with camcorders. And it's pretty cool to check that out, in the past and see kind of what you were like as a child and what you were like growing up and how your parents were and how your family was. If you have that, that's amazing. Now, the thing is when you get older, if you don't have that, you start to forget those little moments. You start to forget what you were like when you were younger, what your family was like, what your parents were like. And that is standard with everything. Like, think about the vacations that you've been on and you didn't take any videos or you didn't take many photos. Think about the experiences and the concerts and things that you didn't actually document at all, right? You remember them, but then the memories, the emotions that you had while you were going through those experiences start to slowly fade year after year. It's happened to me. I know for a fact it's happened to other people. And that's also the one thing that I start to recognize as I'm creating content is this is allowing me to go back in time and see where I was at. Put myself in the same shoes that I felt like I was in. I, listened to some old voice memos that I had. And I didn't have many voice memos, but I had some when I was in Europe, the first time I traveled internationally. And it's crazy because I can literally picture myself in those moments of what I was doing, what I was feeling, the cities I was in. And it's amazing to be able to have that to reflect on. So the other key piece is, like, naturally the content, you get to see yourself grow, but you get to document your life and you get to have these memories that you can look back on. But you also get to actually build yourself and iterate and change the things that you were unaware of. Right? You get to change the way you communicate, change the way you talk, change the way you want to create content. And then you get to build the building blocks and the steps that you want to take to be in the position that you want to be. Because if you don't actually self-actualize that, right, and realize that about yourself and make a change, you're never going to get there, right? It's like you're not taking steps forward. But I also think it's so amazing that you can actually document and recognize, those memories and be able to have that in a time capsule to go back to. And I think many of us, if let's say we're 40, I think you're going to regret not having any documentation, any videos to remind you of those moments that you had with friends, with family, with people you just met. I think you're going to regret not, just because you were scared in the moment of watching yourself talk and speak and present, you're going to regret not doing that later when you're not in a position that you want to be in. Right? So I think we'll always regret not creating the content, not taking photos, not taking videos. We'll regret that more, not doing it, than we would if we did. So if you just do it and you create it, at least you have it. You can delete it later if you really hate it. Right? You can always delete it later. But if you actually made it, you have something to look back on. You have feedback. And that is why I think content is so valuable the more I'm starting to create it. Because I am beginning to realize the way that I want to talk and I want to create. And I'm noticing these flaws in the way that I speak, in the way that I communicate. And I think that's important. It's not fun when you sit there and you're like, okay, that's not a 10 out of 10, right? I'm not very convincing. I'm not very entertaining. But that's the whole point, because now I have the realization and I can change that and I can know how I want to show up. And then the more I create, now I can document that. I can look back and have those memories. And I can put myself in that situation and literally feel the emotions and the feelings, like I said with my voice memos, and understand that. It's crazy. Crazy cool. So really, right? The content's valuable because it's feedback. It's always going to be feedback. You can hear the anxiety in your voice, the words that you repeat multiple times. I do it all the time. And then you can change it. You can put yourself in those memories and those situations, and you can relive it. So I think it's a fantastic perspective to have, is to understand that although you might feel anxious or unprofessional, I don't know how to make content. I'm just figuring it out as I go, and you will go through the same process. And it's scary to see yourself talk and speak not the way that you want to. But the more that you do it, the more reps that you take, the more you can make the changes and the better it can get. So I know that at some point, I will be captivating. I'll be entertaining. I'll be enjoyable. I'll speak like a gentleman, the way I want to speak and communicate. And the value I'm going to provide is going to be so much easier to comprehend for other people. And that is the exciting thing, right? And then I'll have these videos to look back on to see where I was at the time. And I'll have those moments in 4K forever, right? And then if I create the moments, with my family and friends, they will have it too. Instead of reminiscing and fading and just talking about the moments slightly just because you remember them and forgetting. And then being in a position later wishing that you could have, had that content or the photos in the videos. So you don't necessarily have to create content like this, long form content. It could just be, hey, I want to go on this next trip with my family or friends and make sure that I am captivating some of the moments so that I can have it later. And then you may record your next sales call or your next presentation and make sure that you are checking it out to see how you feel you did and make the changes then. So that's my big take. Don't think it's very big, but I think it's very valuable, and it's why I think content can be so valuable to your own personal growth, and it might be the reason why you're holding yourself back, right? So hopefully that helps, because I know me just doing this the last few weeks in general has been awesome. I've learned some new things about myself, and I've got over some fears, and I know at some point it'll only get better.